natural selection, survival of the fittest. This is a world where the strong prioritize the strong, where killing does not require collecting corpses, pretending to be coerced does not require imprisonment, and picking up girls does not require spending money. The heavenly beings, demons and immortals, with a flick of their fingers and a sword. Chapter 1. Xuanwu Continent. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Nanhua Sect, Lingxiao Hall. Yi Feng, you deserve to die for your crimes. A sound of anger came from above the main hall, causing it to tremble slightly. The speaker is the leader of Nanhua Sect, Lin Tian. Upon hearing this, a young man named Yi Feng knelt on both knees, his face full of bitterness, and his thin lips slightly opened, but he couldn't say a word in the end. Master, Yi Feng has been ignorant of his natural talent since childhood. Our Nanhua sect has raised him for 6 years, and he has been benevolent and righteous enough. However, now he doesn't know how to be grateful and instead teases the palace master in public. In fact, he doesn't regard you as the master. Elder De is right. Yi Feng has no talent or virtue, so he should be expelled from the sect. That's right, our Nanhua sect doesn't raise white-eyed wolves. The voices of discussion in the main hall kept coming and going, but all of them were people who fell into trouble. Upon seeing this scene, Lin Tian raised his lips slightly and looked at the young man in his thin clothes. He said coldly, Yi Feng, I believe you have also heard what the elder said. Our Nanhua sect never raises waste. For the sake of a master-disciple relationship, you can pack your bags and find another way out. The young man raised his head to look at Lin Tian, but his face appeared particularly calm, as if being expelled from the school was a kind of relief for him. With a relieved smile, Yi Feng turned around and walked towards the outside of the main hall. Stop, you're not allowed to leave. Suddenly, a beautiful shadow blocked Yi Feng's path. The woman has long hair that reaches her waist, her clothes swaying, and her youthful appearance is like a fairy descending from the sky, without any trace of dust. She is Lin Yue, the only daughter of Lin Tian, the leader of Nanhua sect. However, at this moment, there was a sunset-like blush on her pretty face. Palace Master, I am just an outsider disciple. Please forgive me if you don't mind being a minor. Yi Feng furrowed his brows. He just wanted to leave this place as soon as possible, away from the woman in front of him who was always deliberately making things difficult for her. Let you go. Lin Yue put her hands on her hips, her sizable chest heaving up and down. What you're thinking is quite beautiful. Just now. You. Oh, you're so shy. As she spoke, the woman stomped her feet in anger, her angry eyes seeming to want to castrate Yi Feng on the spot. It was the palace master who tripped me first, and I didn't mean to, Yi Fengli explained confidently. You. Lin Yue was so angry that she couldn't speak. She turned to look at Lin Tian and said reluctantly, Father, it's really too cheap for you to let Yi Feng go like this. So what do you want? Peel off his clothes and take him out for a parade. This. There was a sudden noise inside the main hall, and the elders and disciples looked at each other and whispered in unison. Palace Master, it's not shameful to kill a scholar. Why don't you kill me? Anyway, I, Yi Feng, am an orphan without a father or mother. I have long regarded Nanhua sect as my own home in my heart, but now that I have been abandoned by the sect, my life is meaningless. For a long time, Yi Feng put on a look of death and slowly approached Lin Yue. Upon hearing what Yi Feng said, Lin Yue's face moved, and a hint of pity flashed in her beautiful eyes. Kill me, Yi Feng stood in front of her and said expressionlessly. God. Crazy. Lin Yue was in a daze and even dared not look at her directly. After a while, she walked up to Lin Tian and pleaded softly, Father, even if Yi Feng made a mistake, it's not the end of his crime. In my daughter's opinion, it's better to send him to the labor room and work as a laborer for a month as a warning to others. This. Lin Tian furrowed his brows and fell into a dilemma for a moment. The reason why he is so conflicted is that although Yifeng has a foolish talent, his cultivation is extremely hard. If one day he awakens his talent, it will definitely threaten the position of his son Lin Dong as the chief disciple. Father, you can agree to your daughter. Seeing Lin Tian hesitating, Lin Yue had to play her usual trick, which was to act cute and coquettish towards her father. Okay. Lin Tian nodded with a bitter smile, feeling helpless with his only daughter. After speaking, he looked at Yifeng with a still cold tone and said, Yifeng, for the sake of Yue's face, I'll spare you for a moment. Next time, it won't be as simple as working as a laborer in the labor room. Yifeng was a bit confused. He didn't expect Lin Yue to plead for him. You should know that during his 6 years in Nanyue sect, Lin Yue has been causing him a lot of trouble. After a long time, Yifeng withdrew his mind and bowed, saying, Thank you, my lord. Master, Yifeng's actions are truly contemptuous of others. How could you forgive him so easily? Yes, sect leader. Your behavior will undoubtedly hurt the hearts of other disciples of Nanyue sect. Suddenly, a wave of indignant discussions echoed in the main hall. Seeing this, Lin Tian's face instantly darkened and he said without doubt, My intention has been decided, there is no need to say anything more. After speaking, he brushed his sleeves and left. Lin Yue secretly glanced at Yifeng and turned around to follow behind her father. Not long after, 2 plainly dressed disciples walked into the door and took Yifeng to the miscellaneous room located on the back mountain of Nanyue sect. This is a world where the strong are respected. The people here live in a continent called Xuanwu, abbreviated as Xuanwu continent. Xuanwu continent can be divided into 2 sects and 1 hall according to their power. The first hall is the Xianyuan hall. The 2 schools of thought include the Nanyue school and the Shura school. The Nanyue sect, where Yifeng is located in the southernmost part of the Xuanwu continent. Although its influence is small, its terrain is dangerous and it belongs to a typical sect that is easy to defend but difficult to attack. The Shura sect is located in the central part of the Xuanwu continent, and is on par with the Nanyue sect in terms of power. It can be said that no one can do anything about the other. As for the Xianyuan Hall, which dominates the north, it is the most powerful institution. Unlike sects, it has its own unique cultivation system, and it is said that the disciples inside were originally disciples of the Nanyue sect or the Shura sect. However, due to various reasons, they were abandoned by their respective sects and eventually gathered together to form an emerging force. Xuanwu continent advocates martial arts, but not everyone can practice it. Only those with innate spiritual meridians can practice martial arts, which is known as martial arts by the world. The 5 realms of martial arts. Human Yuan, Qi transformation, Ascension, Divine Yang, and Shantian. Although Yifeng was born with a spiritual meridian, his talent was so poor that he was still in the triple realm of human element at the age of 16. In Nanyue sect, a disciple who spent 6 years only improving 3 levels of cultivation, throughout history, only Yifeng was the one. It can be imagined to what extent his talent is lacking. The reason why Yifeng was able to become an outsider disciple was because the threshold was very low. As long as he had served as a miscellaneous disciple for 3 years, he could apply to the sect to become an outsider disciple, and the pass rate was once as high as an astonishing 100%. Chapter 2. Go to the Task Pavilion. You are listening at novelfull.audio. As soon as Yifeng arrived at the back mountain pass, he heard the voices of several disciples from outside the sect discussing. Quick look, isn't that Yifeng, an external disciple? Why did he come to our corner? You don't know anything about this, do you? He just took advantage of the palace master. Originally, the master intended to expel him from the sect, but he never expected the palace master to plead for him in public. Unexpectedly, this Yifeng really ate the bear's heart and leopard's gallbladder, even daring to touch the daughter of the sect leader. Ah, isn't it? Those who are brave and cowardly these days are starving to death. What's the use of just admiring him? If you have the ability, you can also flirt with the palace master. I'm just a miscellaneous disciple of the personal Yuan fourth realm, and I don't even have the qualification to step into the Lingxiao Hall. How could I possibly interfere with the sect leader? What's wrong with the 4 realms of human Yuan? Do you know Yi Feng's current cultivation level? No, I don't know. Just broke through the triple realm of human element. What are you talking about? He is an external disciple who has been practicing for 6 years, but his cultivation level is even lower than that of me, a miscellaneous disciple. That's not it. As the saying goes, the world is vast, and there are all wonders. Let's keep it quiet, don't let him hear it. Faced with the idle words and gossip of these miscellaneous disciples, Yi Feng chose to ignore them directly. After staying in the Nanyue sect for so many years, he heard more ridicule and even saw more ridicule than he had eaten rice. His heart had already seen through the warmth and coldness of human relationships in this world, and the coldness of the world. Qiyan Peak, a worker's room. Pop 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 pop. Yi Feng held an axe and was working hard to chop through the mountains of wood in front of him. This was the daily task assigned to him by the sect, and he had to complete it before dark. However, halfway through, 2 miscellaneous disciples stormed in anger and without hesitation kicked Yi Feng, who was completely unprepared and immediately fell to the ground. What are you doing? Yi Feng struggled to get up, trying to restrain his inner anger. Are you here to work or to be lazy? I asked you to chop a firewood, but it took me 3 hours to finish chopping it, and I kicked you. Are you still not satisfied? I have done my best, I really didn't slack off. How dare you argue, you useless person. Don't think you're just an outsider, so we have to get used to you. When you come to this red flame peak, you have to abide by the rules here. I'll give you 2 more hours. You can't finish chopping this pile of firewood before it gets dark. Wait and see. 2 miscellaneous disciples took turns reprimanding Yi Feng, then turned around and left the miscellaneous room. Looking at the backs of the 2, Yi Feng clenched his fists tightly, his nails sinking into his palms, and blood overflowed instantly. If it weren't for staying in Nanyue sect, he wouldn't have suffered such a bird-like aura. Although he hardly has any close friends here, there are still the cultivation resources and various supreme techniques he needs. Leaving here, all dreams will be in vain. After calming down, Yi Feng wiped away the bloodstains from his palms and continued to bury his head in hard work. 1, 2, 3 time passed silently, and in the blink of an eye, the sky darkened. Yi Feng finally completed his task on time. However, when he stood up, his eyes suddenly turned black and he fainted. Wow! At some point, a basin of cold water fell from the sky, splashing Yi Feng all over. Yi Feng frowned and slowly opened his eyes, only to see the 2 miscellaneous disciples standing in front of him during the day, with their eyes fixed on them. You bully people too much. Yi Feng gritted his teeth and let out a hoarse roar. Yo yo yo, the outer disciples are angry, we are really scared. The 2 servant disciples looked at each other with a smile, pretending to be in a state of fear. Tai Su Quan. Before the 2 could finish speaking, Yi Feng had already swung his fists and blasted out towards the forehead of one of the miscellaneous disciples. Collapse. With a loud bang, Yi Feng's body flew backwards and hit the wall of the miscellaneous room heavily. Ha ha ha, waste is waste. No wonder it's despised by the sect. If I were you, I would have just hit you dead long ago. Why are you still relying on Nanyue sect? This is your dinner, make do with it. The 2 of them looked at Yi Feng lying on the ground, spitting blood from his mouth, with a smug expression on his face, and then brought a bowl of spoiled food to him. Yi Feng gritted his teeth and had crimson eyes. He hated himself and couldn't even defeat his miscellaneous disciples who had no cultivation resources. Waste is only suitable for eating dog food, ahaha. The 2 of them left the miscellaneous room with a smile after saying this. What's the use of this innate spiritual pulse for me? After a while, Yifeng struggled to stand up and pounded his chest hard, sinking into a state of self-doubt. Suddenly, Yifeng's stomach made a series of unpleasant noises, which made him unable to resist looking down at the food lying on the ground. After hesitating for a long time, he finally gritted his teeth, grabbed the rice from the bowl with his bare hands, and stuffed it into his mouth. After chopping firewood for a whole day, he was almost exhausted and beaten up by 2 miscellaneous disciples just now. Now his stomach is really hungry, and there is no way to care about dignity. Let's eat until he is full. The next day, just as usual at dawn, Yifeng woke up. After a simple wash, he walked out of the door and practiced the most basic boxing technique of Nanyue sect. Taishu Fist. Although Taishu Fist is the lowest level of martial arts, if practiced to the extreme, it can unleash unexpected power and even surpass martial arts practitioners who use intermediate techniques. Yifeng was naked on his upper body, and every punch he made was filled with a murderous aura in his eyes, as if the things in front of him were not ethereal air, but those of his fellow disciples and elders who had mocked and bullied him before. About 2 hours later, Yifeng put away his fists, put on his thin shirt, and turned to walk towards the foot of the mountain. Today is the day for the outer disciples to form groups, and he has to go to the task pavilion. The Nanyue sect has 3 peaks, 2 halls, and 6 pavilions. Sanfeng. Qiyan Peak, a place where miscellaneous disciples reside, located on the back mountain. Zixiao Peak is a place where disciples of external sects reside, located at the foot of the mountain. Tianling Peak, a place for inner disciples to reside, is located in a valley kilometers away from Zixiao Peak. 2 halls. Lingxiao Hall, specifically used to deal with external disciples who have made mistakes. Qingyun Hall. If an inner disciple makes a mistake, it will be handed over to Qingyun Hall for punishment. The 6 pavilions include Lingdan Pavilion, Sangshu Pavilion, Weapon Pavilion, Intelligence Pavilion, Task Pavilion, and Auction Pavilion. Task Pavilion, as the name suggests, is a place where disciples need to complete tasks, but these tasks are often not done for free. After completion, they will receive corresponding rewards, and the size of the rewards depends on the difficulty of the tasks. When doing tasks, it is usually a group of 3 people who work together to complete them. However, due to the uneven strength of the disciples, the sect will reorganize them every week. Strong disciples can only randomly draw lots from weaker ones, which unconsciously improves the fairness of task completion. Chapter 3. 1 piece, 2 pieces. You are listening at novelfull.audio. De Co Lois Ara Trong Quatrin Lay Text. Chapter 4. Heavenly Descending Divine Sword. You are listening at novelfull.audio. De Co Lois Ara Trong Quatrin Lay Text. Chapter 5. Thunder Palm. You are listening at novelfull.audio. De Co Lois Ara Trong Quatrin Lay Text. Chapter 6. Ren Yingying. You are listening at novelfull.audio. De Co Lois Ara Trong Quatrin Lay Text. Chapter 7. Moyuan Forest. You are listening at novelfull.audio. De Co Lois Ara Trong Quatrin Lay Text. Chapter 8. Spirit Core. You are listening at novelfull.audio. De Co Lois Ara Trong Quatrin Lay Text. Chapter 9. Third Order Jackal. You are listening at novelfull.audio. De Co Lois Ara Trong Quatrin Lay Text. Chapter 10. Difficulties. You are listening at novelfull.audio. De Co Lois Ara Trong Quatrin Lay Text.